Welcome to Object-Oriented Programming course. In today's lecture, we will learn about class diagram. Class diagram. Class diagram in UML is a type of static structure diagram to represent the design of the software system in terms of classes and their relationships. It shows the structure of the system at the level of classes and interfaces, along with their attributes, operations, and the relationships among objects. There are several software tools available to draw class diagrams. Rational Rose, Lucidchart, StarUML all are examples of such softwares with which you can draw class diagrams. There are different types of class diagrams. First one is domain model diagram. Domain model diagrams are to represent the real world conceptual classes. They don't contain any methods, they contain only attributes. This is used to uh, represent a business domain or to understand the project domain. So it is not for the implementation point of view, it is only to understand the business model, business domain. Second type of class diagram is implementation class diagram. So we will be dealing with the implementation class diagram. This is the representation of the structure of the software components, describes classes, interfaces, associations, usage, realization, etc. Uh, just, rem re just remember the concept of classes and object. A class is nothing but a generalized description, whereas object is a specific instance of a class. In our earlier class, we mentioned about the class dog and a specific instance, a particular dog, Bobby, an instance of the class. Here, the dog, the class dog as such is not referring to any particular dog. It is the generalized description. It is something like a type. And the dog Bobby is a specific instance of the class, or we are referring to a particular physically existing dog. So that is the concept of class and object. And next part is the relationship. See here you can see means four classes. They are associated, means they are connected each other with the generalization relationship. Generalization is nothing but the inheritance. Here the animal is the parent class. From the parent class, three derived classes are created: duck, fish, zebra. All are inheriting properties and methods from the parent class animal. So this is an example of relationship. Specifically here it is generalization or inheritance relationship is used. Let us learn how to represent a class. A class notation consists of three parts. Here you can see the example of a class notation. You can see a class is represented as a rectangle with three partitions. First partition represents the class name and it is mandatory. The name of the class appears in the top partition. Second partition represents the class attributes. It is an optional one. And the syntax used for the representation of attribute is something like attribute name, colon, data type. So in the second partition, you will represent all the attributes or the member variables present in that class. An attribute is a named property of a class that describes the object being modeled. Attributes are shown in the second partition. The attribute type is shown after the colon. Derived attributes are designated by a preceding slash. What is derived attribute? Any idea? A derived attribute, here I have given an example for that. Slash age colon date. This is representing an attribute, and this slash is indicating that this age is a derived attribute. Derived attribute, it is something for which we can compute the value from some other existing attributes. Just imagine in the class we have one date of birth attribute. In that case, we don't need to store age. From the date of birth, you can calculate the age. You need to make use of the current date and the date of birth. Then if you compute the difference, you will get the value of age. So this age is nothing but a derived attribute. So to represent such attribute, you have to prefix a slash. Attributes map onto the member variables or the data members in your program, means in your class. Third partition is nothing but the class operations or the methods. Again, this is also optional, it is not mandatory. The operations are shown in the third partition. They are services the class provides. The return type of a method is shown after the colon at the end of the method signature. Operations map onto class methods. See this example. Here get area is a method. You can see that get area colon double. This double indicates that the return type is double. Okay, in a program you will implement a class something like this. There will be a class keyword within the bracket, and within the body of the class you will have data members and member methods. So just remember, it is nothing but the concept of encapsulation. That means you are bundling the variables and methods into a single unit called class. Member visibility. Member visibility is all about how much the members of the classes are visible or accessible to the outside. See, in encapsulation, the concept is to bundle the data and the methods into a unit called class. And at the same time, there was a concept of private members and public members. In that actually we are specifying whether a particular member is visible to the outside or not. So here we are referring to that concept only. Member visibility. Visibility defines whether the attributes and operations of a specific class can be seen and used by other classes. UML has 4 types of visibility, and it is represented by prefixing a literal: plus, minus, hash, and tilde. These 4 symbols are used to indicate different visibility levels in UML. Plus symbol is used to specify public visibility. Minus symbol is used to specify private visibility. Hash symbol is used to specify protected visibility. And tilde symbol is used to mention the package level visibility. And for a member, if you are not mentioning any prefix, any literal prefix, that means its visibility level will be default. That is nothing but the package level. So here you can see this plus name indicates that the name is a member and which is having public visibility. So these are the visibility levels in UML. We will see the details. Here you can see 4 diagrams. Each diagram is representing the impact of the visibility level. First one, let us see the private visibility. Here we have package 1 and package 2. In package 1, in the first class, means blog account class, we have a member name. You can see a minus prefix to it. That means it is a private member. That private member is accessible only to the same class. It is not accessible to the class present in the same package, or it is not present to the inherited class present in another package. And so here you can see from this diagram, you can see that private member is visible only to the same class. Next visibility level is protected. Here you can see a creation date, hash creation date. That means creation date is a protected member. The meaning is that that particular member is visible only to the inherited classes. Whether it is in the same package or outside package, inherited members are visible only to the protected members are visible only to the inherited classes. Third diagram represents the default or the package level visibility. In this example, in our blog account, we have a member method with default or the package level visibility. That indicates that this particular member is visible to the derived class and the non-derived classes of the same package, but it is not visible to the classes present in a package which is outside. Beyond outside the package, members are not visible. Public, this is the least restrictive. That means these members are visible to all the classes, whether it is in the same package or outside, whether it is inherited or not. In all the cases, it is accessible. So this table summarizes the concept of these 4 visibility levels. So remember, in UML we have 4 visibility levels: private, protected, default, and public. Private is the most restrictive and public is the least restrictive. Now let us study another concept, that is scope, member scope. The UML specifies two types of scope for the members, instance and classifier. The classifier members are commonly recognized as static in many programming languages. The scope is the class itself. All the instances share the classifier scoped members. Here let us see this example. We have a class dog, and in that class dog we have two member variables and one static int count. This is also a variable. This static int is a member which is having classifier level scope. That means here, see, here you can see three instances, three objects created from this class: dog Fido, dog Rover, dog Spot. All these three are three different objects created from this class. But the classifier, the member with classifier scope, that is our count, is not part of any of these objects. It is actually shared between all the objects. That is the significance. If the scope is to the instance, that means that is present along with each object. But if the scope is classifier, that means all the objects of that particular class share that variable. That is that static int is shared by all the instances. It is not part of any particular instance. Classifier members are commonly recognized as static. Here you can see we have used static as the keyword to create a classifier member. To indicate a classifier scope for a member, it must be underlined. Okay, that is the convention used in UML. To denote a member with classifier scope, you need to underline that. Here in this particular order class, you have get name, which is not having any underline. That means its scope is instance. That means it is not static. The second one is underline. That means get next new number means it is a classifier scoped member. So classifier scoped members are not part of any particular object. It is shared. Instance members are scoped to a specific instance. Each instantiated object of the class has its own. That means here name is an instance member. All the objects are having its own name, whereas the static or the classifier levels classifier scope member is shared across all the objects. That is the difference between the instance scope and classifier scope. Let us study the different relationships present between the classes. Relationships in a class diagram includes different types of logical connections. Here you can see association. Two classes can be associated. Then inheritance is another type of relation. Realization, dependency, aggregation, composition. We will study the details of each relationship in the subsequent slides. Let us study different types of relationships between the classes. First one is association. Here you can see class 1 and class 2 are related each other by an association. Here that name will be mentioned. In this example, name is not mentioned. You can see John and Peter are related by an association, that is parent of. Okay, here John is son, Peter is father. So this is association. Represents a static relationship between two classes, shows that instances of the class could be either linked to each other or combined logically or physically. Represented by a solid line with or without open arrow. Open arrow is to indicate the direction, that is not mandatory. Next type of relationship is dependency. A dependency means that relation between two or more classes in which a change in one may force a changes in the another one. That means they are dependent each other. If you change one, the other one is also get changed. Means you have to make some modification. Dependency indicate that one class depends on another. To represent a dependency relationship, we have to use a dashed line with an open arrow. See this example. Here class person and class address. they are associated, and that association name is nothing but the address. Okay, in this case it is directed. uh, that is to show that okay, this address is actually this person's address. Okay, uh, and see the second example. Here we have a car class and a and a class wheel. These two cars are actually having dependency relationship. That means the car uses wheel. Car is dependent on the wheel. If you make any changes to the specification of this wheel, you have to make the corresponding changes in the car class also. That means if you make any change to one, that will force the other to change. So this relationship is dependency, and it is represented by dashed line with open arrow, whereas association was mentioned by solid line with or without arrow. Next type of relationship is aggregation, a special type of association to represent a Hasse relationship. Here you can see an example: team, class, team and player. This is indicating that team has 9 players. A solid line with unfilled diamond at the association end connected to the class of composite. Here class of composite is team, and this is the diamond head, unfilled diamond head. This unfilled diamond head is used to indicate the composite relationship. Next, not composite, aggregation. It is used to represent the aggregation. Next type of relationship is composition, a special type of aggregation where the parts are destroyed when the whole is destroyed. That means it is denoting a stringent parts of relationship. See this example. You have a book here and chapter. The relationship between them is composition. That means if you destroy the book, all the chapters are also get destroyed. Means there is no independent existence for the chapter, because without the book your chapter cannot exist. So that is the relationship composition, a solid line with a filled diamond at the association connected to the class of composite. Class of composite is book, and the representation is that you will use the filled diamond. So for aggregation you will use the unfilled diamond, for the composition you will use the filled diamond. Here we have some more example. See this: team and players. This relationship is something like, what is this? Unfilled diamond. That means it is aggregation. A team can have one or more players, and the relationship between a player and organ, this is composition relationship. That means you cannot have a player without organs. So this is a part of relationship. This is a Hasse relationship. Another example is like car and passenger. That is an example for aggregation. Car may have passengers. Means even without car, it is means even without passenger, your car is meaningful. Let us consider the another composition relationship: car and engine. A car must have engine. Without engine, your car is incomplete. So this is all about aggregation and composition. Next type of relationships are generalization and realization. Generalization is nothing but the inheritance. Generalization helps to connect a subclass to its superclass. A subclass is inherited from its superclass. A solid line with hollow arrowhead that point from the child to the parent. Okay, so the representation is that hollow arrowhead pointing from the child to parent. Here you can see publication is a base class. From this base class you have two derived class, one for book and one for magazine. Both are publications but with some specific changes. So the arrow is this hollow arrowhead is pointing from the derived class to the parent class. Okay, so this is all about generalization. If you see this relation from the other direction, it is called specialization. That means publication, if you can draw a arrow from publication to the down, it is called specialization. Book is a specialized form of publication. Magazine is a specialized form of publication. So here I'm documenting only the generalization. So it is just a matter of your perspective. If you view the problem from the other direction, the same is viewed as uh, specialization. Here we are talking about the generalization. Arrow points from the child to parent. Okay. Next thing is realization. Okay. Realization relationship is a relationship between two model elements in which one model element realizes or implements the behavior that the other model element specifies. See, earlier we mentioned about at the time of concept abstraction, we mentioned about the interface concept. See, for a car, manufacturer has given certain specification like each car should have standard interfaces like steering wheel, clutch, brake, all these things. So at this stage, you are not telling how to implement these things. You are telling a car should have these many things. So when you manufacture a particular car, you have to implement these interfaces in your car. So that is the concept. So this interface is not implementing anything. It is specifying, okay, see, just consider this case. So we have an interface. Interface is telling steer, change gear, brake, accelerate. Okay, these behaviors are specified for a car. So if I am creating a particular car, if I am implementing Opel Astra, class I am implementing a model, a particular model, in that case, I am expected to implement all these interfaces, all these functionalities. So in Opel Astra class, I am implementing all the interfaces specified by this particular car interface. So this is the concept. So I have to implement or realize the interface in my class. So this relationship is represented by dashed line and hollow arrowhead. Realization relationship is a relationship between two model elements. Here it is between one class and another interface. It can be an abstract class also, in which one model element realizes or implement or execute the behavior that the other model element specifies. Here this car interface specifies certain behaviors or the certain specifications which are implemented in my class Opel Astra. So that is the concept of realization. So realization is represented by a dashed line with hollow arrowhead. Another concept what we need to learn, we already see that in the case multiplicity. Multiplicity defines how many objects participate in a relationship, and it is denoted by number of instances of one class related to the instance of another class. Here, see this, company and employees are associated. That is indicated by a solid line. Here, one is mentioning the multiplicity. One company is associated with more than one or more employees. That is the meaning. Multiplicity is represented as a number, and a star used to represent a multiplicity of many. So 1 dot dot 0 dot dot 1 means 0 or 1. Star means many. 0 dot dot star means 0 or more. So that is the way to represent the number of objects participating in the relation. So in our previous example, we mentioned, see, that one team has 9 members. So that 9 is nothing but the multiplicity. Let us see an example class diagram for a pizza order system. Here we have a customer class and the multiplicity is mentioned, that is associated with the order class. This order class is having an aggregation relationship with the order detail, and there is an association relationship between the item. Okay, here we have payment. Payment is an abstract class that we have 3 types of payments: cash payment, check payment, credit card payment. So this class diagram represents the classes and their relationship, and in each classes it represents the members. So, and see in these examples, this prefix symbols plus indicating that the public member, minus indicating that the members are private. Like that, the visibility level is also mentioned. So this is all about the class diagram. So these are the references used for this particular content. Thank you.